I can watch, like, I can't watch an hour and a half of a movie, but I can watch an hour and a half of a TV show. Like 2 episodes or whatever it is. You quit smoking 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I like it you say quit, not stopped.
And truck's coming after you.
What'd you stop for? I wasn't even at 60%. Now he's following behind me. I was going to turn around and do that small bit, but he was right up my backside. No, it's because he's a quitter. Mike. Unlike me, I start something, I stick to it. I'm not even at 60% yet. What are you doing? Oh, he stopped there. Right in the way of where I wanted to harvest. Yeah, I understand that. It said the same thing, but it wasn't the smell, it was just, it'd make me feel sick and I'd just stop for months. And then I'd go out and one of my friends would be smoking and then I would pinch one off them, and because when you're drinking, then I pinch another one, then you felt bad about doing that, so you went and bought a packet, but you decided you'd only smoke them when you're having a drink, and that then it turned into having one every now and then during the day, and then back to yeah. Just all you got to do is just every time you feel like having one is decide to do something. When, as soon as you think to yourself, I feel like a cigarette, instantly think to yourself, oh, I might go clean the counter or vacuum the house or something. Just do something. Make yourself busy. And if you get into that mindset, you're actually teaching yourself not to think about it. Whoa, dude, that's expensive. 70, that's like 120 for me. That's oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, so that's 2.5 packs a week for me.
That's 2 packets of 30 gram tobacco.
Oh, that's right, because you do rollies, didn't you?
Hmm. Cheaper and got none of the chemicals.
For me, feeding a pack of 30 Taylors, and what are they up to? $55 a pack.
Jeepers. Well, mind you, I don't know what they hear. I know the pack of 20s is around about $28, which is ridiculous. I remember when I first started smoking. at a very early age. It used to cost me $3 for a packet of Winfield 25s and a box of matches. Funny enough, the matches are still the same price, 25 cents.
Well, I think the running joke is if I gave up my license, I'd have mental health issues. I'm like, well, I suppose with the money I'm saving, I go see a shrink.
That's the thing, you save money by giving up, but you spend more because you eat more. Oh, but it's healthier for... what was it?
I was just saying, because I think, because at one point I wound up quitting for a few months, and then got into a situation where basically I was put in charge of an entire department because there was no other higher ups above me. It was just a case of, cling on promotion, and I was like, oh, that's fine and dandy. I can answer basic questions and just keep a lid on things until, oh, look at that, half the state went under. So yeah, it's now rush hour, and I just got bombarded. Put up with it for the 4 hours of my shift, and then got to my lunch break. I'm like, yeah, nah, this is happening. I'm going to the server and get it back. It's always at the back of the mind. I was just like, I feel like one just for the habit. But I think last time I tried quitting, I put it down for like a week and a half, and I'm just like, what do people do with all their free time? Which, as you're saying, it could be productive and actually make use of the time. But I was just sitting around going, I'm bored.
Yeah, well, it worked for me when I gave up, but then again, on the other hand, for me, for most of my life, I found it quite easy to quit, because the only reason I smoked was because I was bored. That was it, not because I actually had an urge. If I wasn't bored during the day, I could go a whole day without smoking if I was all busy all day, easily, without wanting one or missing it or anything else like that.
Yeah, I've had that before. Same thing, you get particularly busy shifts at work and you're so busy focused on the job that it's like, you don't care about it. So you just sit around for 5 minutes, it's like, okay, break time.
Nowadays it just stops me from thinking, otherwise I go completely insane.
Yeah, neutral distraction.
Don't know why though, it's weird, but it does. Oh, so buy a rental property to rent out, not, yeah, of course that makes, yeah, it's obvious, isn't it? I don't know what.
Yeah, I think the confusion there is you probably, well, I don't know what terms you would have used, I would just call that an investment property.
Yeah, that's what investment property. That's what we use here. That's why there's a housing shortage, because all the people buying investment properties, buying all the houses up.
Yeah, I looked at that one. I mean, I live in a 2-bedroom apartment for $300 a week, and I was like, okay, is there any place I can do $275 with at least 2 bedrooms, whether it's a townhouse in a bad area or like just, yeah, anywhere else? Sorry, no results found. Okay, 1 bedroom for minimum 1 bedroom, $300 a week. Sorry, no results found. Like, really? There's no place that is cheaper than where I'm currently at?
Well, we got a bad housing thing here because it's such a common thing to have your own house. For a long time, the government made sure the number one priority of the government was to make sure everyone had housing, had a house to live in, and it was cheap. But because we're used to that as a culture, these days people have to have a house, but also the ease of having things, and because there's more things to be able to buy and own these days, it obviously costs more money, but back then you didn't need much, but it was the ease of being able to have those things, and So now housing's expensive because people want to buy the house, and also getting a mortgage for it is a loan from the bank is a lot harder than it used to be. Housing prices have gone up because people want to buy the house, and people know that they want the house, so they try and make as much money, because when they go to buy a house, they want to make money from the sale. And then, of course, they've got to account for the fact that they're buying a new house, which costs a lot more than what they paid for their first house, so they add that cost into the price as well as making profit. So it's a ridiculous amount of money to buy a house. Like a standard 3-bedroom house in Auckland, the big city, just your middle of the range house is $1 million now.
Ouch.
Yeah, and to think 20 years ago it would have cost you about $1,500, not $1,500, 150 grand to 200 at the most for a decent 3-bedroom house, and that was when you had the quarter acre.
Yeah, decent sized yard and everything. Because
Yeah.
that's what I say, similar sort of token, when I got out of high school, 400k would get you a very nice, 2-3 bedroom townhouse. And it's like these days, $400 would be looking at your bare, well, 400k would be looking at your bare minimum. But my big problem is, of course, being single, so it's not like I've got a dual income to offset bills and everything else. I've got to do everything out of pocket, and that's the killer, is the fact that I'm standing on my own feet, which, I'm surviving, but the head's not very far above the water.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, years ago it was a lot cheaper to buy a house, and you only needed 10% deposit. Well, 10% of the money in the bank, and they'll give you the rest. And sometimes you didn't even need that. You could just go to the bank and say, I just bought a house. Can I have the money for it? And the bank go, oh, have you just bought it? Yeah, all right. So, but now, after the last recession, when the banks all got hit, now you need a 20% deposit, and of course you need 20% of a million, which is 200,000. Instead of 10% of like 200,000. Only the rich people can buy the houses. And a lot of the houses, the majority of the houses, are actually bought by Chinese, because they can own heaps of houses. Well, they can buy heaps of houses and stuff like that and rent them out and everything else, but the reason is because they get the loan from banks in China, and they only get charged like a 1% interest. We had neighbours from China, really lovely people. Love going there because you go there for dinner and you have
a full banquet.
Yeah, basically, and the wife's parents owned, well, families basically owned restaurants in China, so she was very good at cooking food, having duck and all that. It was awesome. And we're talking about that, and they said, yeah, it's just we get our loans from the banks in China because we only have to pay 1% interest. We get charged 1% interest. And I thought, oh, well, that's nice. They're lucky beggars. And so they can. And once they got that, they got assets, so they can borrow on the asset and get another house. Then they've got 2 assets they can borrow on and get another house, while paying 1% in interest, which is a huge difference compared to like I think it's about 6% interest, I think, here. The banks here for a loan.
I'm trying to think, so locally our Reserve Bank's been dropping interest, well, was it the cash rate, where it was? They kept dropping that one through the floor to try and help, prop up the economy. It's like, yeah, that's great, but it's not going in my pocket, because I don't know how many assets or massive savings that I've got investments on or anything like that, which kind of my own fault really, but this is my situation. I'm basically just barely out of income support, really.
Well, the other benefit to people investing in housing here for renting is because there was bugger all tax that they had to pay on it, which has now changed. They had all the power and didn't really have to pay much tax. And it came even better because it used to, not that it's here, that matters here, but they had to pay the rates, which is sort of like a tax. And
Service and utility for sewerage and water, yeah.
Yeah, well, and then you got land rates, and then you got water rates. And they paid it all, the landlords, but now the renters have to pay the water rates. Now, I'm lucky I don't have to do that here because the city I live in, because like with big Auckland City, the rates are different. You got your normal rates and then you got your water rates, and they're separate. Where I live at the moment, your water rates are included in the normal rates, so you can't separate the costs and give it to the people that are renting. So they still got to pay it, but it's cheap anyway. Yeah, it makes more sense water rates in Auckland though, because they've only got the dams that were built to supply the country, and they were built. Actually, my great grandfather had the contract to build those dams because he was the only one in this country at the time that had a license to use TNT. So my great grandfather and grandfather built the dams that supply Auckland with water. And just for those who don't know, just to give you a sort of an idea of what that is, Auckland has about 2/3 of the population of this country live in Auckland. 2/3 of 5 million people, and they haven't added any water sources since my great grandfather built them back in the early we would have been 1930s, 40s, somewhere around there, I think, possibly. And that would have been for the population that was there, possibly a bit of future looking at the population might get like that, but when I was a kid, this country had 1.3 million people as the total population. So, and they haven't done anything, so Auckland runs out of water all the time, especially when there's a drought, because they rely on the rain. We're down here, we just rely on the river to get our water and lime. And there's obviously a lot of lime coming through the water supply at the moment, because I cleaned my, I'll say kettle just to make it easier for everyone else, electric kettle, electric jug. And yeah, I cleaned it out last week and I had to clean it again this week, which is rare. Normally you have to clean it because it gets a build-up of lime, and if you don't clean it out, it destroys your electric kettle and jug or coffee machine as well. AC/DC had a lot. No. They were years after. This is back when they actually carried the big, huge concrete blocks by hand to make the dam. And they had, so you've got to go AC/DC? Of course I know AC/DC.
Well, as I say, they don't need a license for TNT, they are TNT.
Used to sing it all the time, but sometimes it was TNT, sometimes it was something else that I can't say because it's a PG. But I'm sure it's a common thing with Australia, so Patrio probably knows what I know. It starts with B.
Talking about their sports equipment and how large it is.
And the other one is a long way to the top to rock and roll, and we used to do it's a long way to the shop for a sausage roll. Might finish half an hour early today, Patrio, because I'm not actually feeling that well. Well, I just don't feel sick, but I'm just not feeling right.
I was going to go with getting close to being ready to wrap it up.
I'm getting really hungry as well.
Yeah, the probably party pies for lunch and pizzas for dinner tonight. Considering that yesterday the only thing I had was, 6-pack of cider and 3 hot dogs. Well, to be fair, the hot dogs are good.
I had my usual for breakfast and usual for lunch today.
Yeah.
That's about it. How many blooming accelerator? So I don't know why I'm feeling hungry. In fact, I had late lunch because I got up late. And I had to force myself out of bed. I was so tired. Don't know why.
Half a cup of rice, a bit of sweet soy and lemon juice on it. Stick it in a mug, throw it in the microwave, job done.
Tonight I got my Maryland chicken drumsticks.
That's the one too. I was having a gas bag with a housewoman last night. And it was like, as we're just catching up on comparing notes on different cooking expeditions that we go through. And he brought up a good point. One thing I haven't tried is rissoles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, or what do you call them? The tuna. Oh, is it just tuna rissole? Because I'm not real massive on fish, let alone tuna, but I know my mum is. So it's always the joke of trying out fancy recipes and seeing if A, I can do them, and B, whether mum likes them.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do pork tomorrow and do a cheese sauce for my vegetables. What I miss making, which I don't have the ability to do, and probably dangerous if I do because I'll eat the whole lot, is making cheese sauce veg. Which is, well, for me growing up, you got cheese sauce which you make and you pour it over your vegetables, and then you got the other way where you do your carrots and your potatoes and your peas and stick it in a dish and then pour a whole bunch of cheese sauce over the top and then stick it in the oven and let it bake.
Mm-hmm. Closest I can think to that is a potato bake, so not quite. Less cheese, more milky, more cream. Although potato bake and some meatloaf is one I'd definitely don't mind trying every now and then. Which is really weird because it's like, it's not terrible on the night, but it's always the leftovers. Like, I think the mate worked it out. He's like, yeah, well, the potato bake has time to chill out in the fridge and spend an hour for the flavours to get to know each other. And then the meatloaf, I mean, it's basically the same whether it's fresh or reheated one day after. It's no real different. So it might explain why my potato bake's bad for serving but good for leftovers.
Oh, mate, my cheese sauce veggie doesn't get a chance to become leftovers. I really can't stop. Even if I say to myself, right, this is the last helping, well, before I've eaten the last bite of that helping, I've already convinced myself the reason why to have a little bit more and go, and I'll leave the rest for tomorrow. And by the time I finish eating that bite, I go, well, there's not much left. There's no point leaving it. I might as well eat it all now. And there's another thing I do that I do have the same issue with, and that's a rice pudding. I cannot stop myself from eating that.
Yeah, the old man liked his rice puddings way back when, but can't say I'm a fan myself. Although I'm sort of half like cheesy or milky sauces, so like your carbonaras, that sort of thing. I don't mind them, but I don't actively go for them, which is always a bit of a tricky bug. So I know my mum doesn't go for that sort of stuff, so that's why I tend not to bother with it. She's not real big on Well, she's not big on beef, except for a couple of recipes that I do that she doesn't mind, especially masala. Loves masala. And she is larger on fish than I am, so you get like the pre-battered frozen barramundi because she prefers barramundi, which I don't mind. I rather enjoy it for fish and chips, but trying to, cook a whole salmon or something like that, yeah, no thanks, I'm good.
And salmon I like. But I was brought up on fish. This is my grandfather, the same one that the dam owned a fish and chip shop, and he had his own trawler as well. So we always had fresh fish, and it was way cheap back then. And same with my parents, they also owned a fish and chip shop. Chips and fries are different. Fries are thinner.
Yeah, you got, I suppose you'd call them steak cut fries.
Yeah, that's what we would call them as well. The chips are chunkier and nicer.
Yeah, for us the French fry would be called shoestring.
Yeah, shoestring, yeah. That's the one.
Or Macca's chips if you want to be really fancy.
Yeah, but that's what we got, Macca's chips as well, but on the menu they're French fries. But
Yeah,
no.
and on the menu it's a chicken fillet. I still call it filet o fish. I'm like, no, it's a fillet o fish, thank you. Thank you, there's no second L.
Yeah, that's what we get, fillet of fish. Exactly what we call it too. That's what we do down here. We take your stuff and make it better. Sound better and taste better. That'll make a few people angry. Yeah, hash browns. Yeah. Actually, the best hash browns I have is from Denny's, of all places. Used to go there. We used to have a family thing where we went there on a Sunday morning and had Denny's breakfasts. We had the Grand Slam and then added the extra bacon or sausages or whatever we want. And hash browns were amazing. And it's the only time we would sacrifice tomato sauce or ketchup. Good old Heinz ketchup. Worked perfectly with it.
As I say, we used to have a 24-hour diner place, and they would do the part of their regular breakfast menu. Because most everything off their menu was all-day ordering. I was looking over the breakfast options after a hard night with the boys, and it's like, oh, you got steak and mushrooms, we got sausage and beans, this and that, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't eat half this stuff because I'm such a picky eater. It's like, oh, we also got the glutton special, 3 snags, 5 pieces of bacon, a couple of hash browns, and I think the only thing they had on the plate that I wouldn't touch was the fried tomato, which I just gave to a mate. But that was just meat, and had some hash browns on the side. But, potato gems is where I'm at, or tater tots, or tater royales, people call them.
Okay, you worked at Denny's, and that was the one that would only unload trucks at 10 o'clock at night, not before. Denny's was a treat. Especially when you went on your birthday and you got a free meal for your birthday. But Denny's was the place to go when we were, years ago as a family for breakfasts. But if you wanted to go for a restaurant, you had your 2 choices. Number 1 was Tony's, that did the best steaks, or you went to Cobb & Co, which had the good meals, but even better, their Cobb & Co loaf, which was a bread that they made, and it was nice, came out nice and hot. You used to have traffic light drinks. Oh, is it going to be enough?
Okay, apparently Denny's used to be in Australia, but not anymore. This was before my time.
Oh, okay. I'm pretty sure they're still here. I think they're only in Auckland though. I haven't seen any anywhere else. Then again, I wasn't looking. Normally when I go away somewhere, I try and look for fancy places. Some nice places, different places. No, I was hoping it was wide enough. I'm at 60%, so he'll be on his way. So...
I think for me, the oldest diner I can think of is Holly's. Used to be the cafes and Kmart's.
Cafes and Kmart's, did you say?
Yeah, this is like, well, yeah, in my hometown, the Kmart had a Holly's cafe or diner. Yeah, so diner's probably the better word for it. Which is kind of funny, yeah, you're walking through the sporting goods sections, take 2 steps and yeah, okay, here's your hamburger and chips for the day. That was up until the late 90s when they stopped doing it.
Kmart never until recently had any type of cafe in their shops over here. Now they have, like most places, a Robert Harris, which is a coffee brand. I don't know if it's a New Zealand coffee brand or international, but I just thought, just in case it is, I'll mention what it is. These little things we used to have are now gone. Woolworths was one of them. They're gone. They're now known as Countdown. New World. Oh no, they're still around. The supermarkets, these are. And there's another brand of supermarket that no longer exists as well. Oh, Food Town.
Yeah.
That's also, they Countdown as well. They got together.
I just realised how much of a sign of the times it is. There's a photo, like an old photo of one of these Holly's cafes things. And it's like, yeah, I remember the booths and the tables they used to have. So it's just a casual ashtray on the table. I mean, pretty sure you haven't been able to smoke indoors in any business in Australia for, well, at least in my state. When was that? Oh, it would have been early to mid 2000.
No, it's roughly the same here. Yeah, we still have Kmart's here, mate. Got one in this town. I say town, it's technically a city, but compared to the rest of the world, it's a village. I mean, it's a city and it's the size of a suburb, pretty much in Auckland. That's coming out of your wages, truck driver.
Oh, I got halfway down the field before I realised, I had the wrong toggle for the pickup. As for us, for department stores, yeah, you got, well, general goods slash, I suppose, home goods stuff. You got Kmart, Big W, Target would be the big 3 that are fighting against each other for that sector. We don't have a Walmart, nothing quite that diverse. IKEA, there's one of those in my city.
Yeah, we got IKEA. No, we don't have a Sears here. Or Montgomery Ward.
Yeah, no, neither. Some cheeky truck driver going up to unload.
Yeah, because he set to unload at 70%. He's at 87. That's all right. Take it with you because the next one's red cabbage anyway. That we'll be going to. Now, I don't know what American brand shops we've got here. I mean, for years and years they didn't, but obviously because we didn't really have enough people for them to warrant to come down here for sales. Now we sort of do, I suppose.
still chuckle at the folktale for the Burger King debacle.
Oh, apart from fast food takeaways, we've had Kentucky Fried Chicken here for years. We had a chicken spot at some stage, which I found a lot better than Kentucky Fried Chicken. A lot nicer. And then we've got the Burger King. Carl Jr.'s is a recent addition. That place is fantastic.